Where's the duct tape when we need it?
That's right.
Right. Let's get the aesthetic. Okay. We'll make sure we close those doors. So when I scream, nobody can hear me. Just kidding, just kidding. I won't do that. Okay. This is a detox class. How many of you here knew that this was a detox class? That's a good start. Sometimes I start, I'm like, this is for prostate health class. People look at me weird. Great. So how many of you here, before we start, do you have some questions about detox? Anybody? Any questions? You're just ready to learn something. Ready to learn, okay. Any questions before we start? No? No questions? No questions? Not yet. Does she have any questions?
Oh, she will.
She'll have many? Great. Go ahead.
I guess I do. I just had gallbladder surgery about a month ago.
Yeah?
And had lots of stomach issues before that, and still having them now.
Yeah?
Is detox a good idea to do that? And still healing?
Yeah, usually, even when they take the gallbladder out, that was not the problem to begin with, so I'm sorry, I didn't want to
I've heard that.
ruin your,
I have heard that more than once.
ruin your gig there, but I'll explain it to you. No, I guess you'd be able to do a cleanse if you choose to. If that'd be a good idea, yeah. Creating a better environment for healing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Besides this young lady, but she's going to wait at the end to ask them all at one time.
I have a silly question.
Yeah.
The plastic container, that
Yeah.
can go, that bottle can go in your dishwasher, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not melted by the time you open up the dishwasher, you're in good shape.
Then you'll just give me another one.
Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about what we're going to do so that makes sense to you, right? I'm not going to try to convince you about if you should be doing cleanses or not. Everybody should be doing it. That's my premise before we start, okay? So just so you know where I'm coming from. I'll show you a few things that's going to support what I'm about to tell you, just so you have a better understanding, but we're going to discuss a couple cleanses that I have been using for many years now at our office, over in the upward of 500 times. So we've done it many, many times with many, many people, right? I'll show you some cases. There's still, I think I saw 10 people today that are on the cleanse. I was teaching that class last week on Monday, so a lot of people have already started, right? So I'm very, very familiar with what I'm about to tell you. You can ask me any question you want. I think we're going to be on Facebook Live, but maybe yes, maybe no. It doesn't make any difference. And then I'm hoping that when you have at the end, if you have more questions, then you can ask me some question. I usually ask at the beginning because I want to make sure that I will touch on the question that people had, or they're going to be satisfied with the answer. Maybe you're not going to be satisfied, but I guess I don't know what to tell you. I think you will. I think you will, though. So how many of you here have never been to Gilead before? Anybody? Two of you? Everybody else been to Gilead? So you're familiar with the place. So I am the clinic director here at Gilead since June of 2017. I'm Dr. Jean-Guy. I don't see patient out of this place. Gilead has Christian counselors. We have a holistic medical doctor. We have nutritionists. We have chiropractors. We have massage therapists. We have everything to be healthy if a person chooses to. So we also have prayers. People can come here in this room any time of the week and they can be prayed for if they choose to. So if you've never been to Gilead, Gilead was built in 2004. And the purpose and the vision beyond Gilead was to have a place where we could have total body healing. So if you've never heard the spiel, and if you've never been here, welcome. We're happy to have you. I'm Dr. Jean-Guy, and I'm the clinic director here, but I'm in private practice in Frando or in Lansing. and I've been there for 20 years now. My wife is a chiropractor as well, Dr. Denise, also known as the boss. And so we have several doctors between the two of our offices. So many of you already know that. So let's do this together. So you're not here all night, which you could. That could have happened. I used to be known for that, but I'm going to try to spare you tonight. There is a book that, if you're interested into learning about detoxifying, the title of the class used to be Detoxify or Die. There's a book out there called by Sherry Roger. She's a medical doctor. She's been doing environmental stuff, practicing medicine for many years. And she's really big into, putting forth information to support the idea of detoxifying, right? And the reason why we should detoxify is because of the water we drink, air we breathe, the food or the non-food that we put in our body. And the average American from 1 year to another, 365 days later, right, will put anywhere between 5 to 10 pounds on. And many of you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, because people are like, I just look at food and I put weight on. That's usually what happens as people get older, right? So I want to just kind of shine some light on that, and why does that happen, and how you can circumvent that. There's many ways that you can detox, just to give you, so you understand. People can detox to the acupuncture system of your hands and feet. That's a way to do that. So some people might be familiar with doing some foot bath, that kind of thing. Your largest organ in your body is your skin. So if a person was to do sauna, right, that's also another way that you can detox. So just for you guys can understand. Now, there's one thing Dr. Jean-Guy is not for. I'm going to just tell you right now so you understand where I'm coming from. Dr. Jean-Guy is not for gallbladder, flush. Dr. Jean-Guy is not for liver, colon cleansing. Dr. Jean-Guy is not for any of that. And the reason why I'm not for that is I just want to be, I want you to understand where I'm coming from is, to me, it doesn't make any sense to do like a gallbladder flush where you're going to be flushing one organ and you're just dumping all the crap into the next one south, right? So if you understand a little bit about detox, if you're going to detox, you should detox the body, not just detoxing a part. That makes no sense, because the body doesn't work that way, right? So if you're going to detox, you're going to be addressing the body, not just addressing the parts, which is, if you're interested in health, that's the way you look at the body as well, right? So here at the top it says, the goal is to discover, right, the toxins that are lurking into the environment in your food, which a lot of time people are not familiar with, or they're not, they don't quite understand that. Hopefully I can give you some ideas about that. And then learn how your body handles the toxins, what's your body do that. And then to make a decision to detoxify, every one of you here, including me and, all of our friends, you should do that at least once a year. Some people do it on a quarterly basis. There's certainly the data and the research certainly support the way that people eat today, with our standard American diet. I'm going to refer to that tonight as the SAD diet, that we should do that on a regular basis. So here it says, how's your body detoxify? So you have different means to do that. And I'm going to give you some numbers right now, which is pretty interesting. Those numbers are higher now, but it says in 1989, the EPA estimated that 1 year, almost 6 billion pounds of chemicals were either dumped into the public sewage or released into the ground surface water and air. So the numbers even more today. It says a vast array of pharmaceutical, including antibiotic, anticonvulsant, anti-inflammatory, mood stabilizer, and sex hormones have been found in drinking water supply in 28 U.S. metropolitan area tested. Right here around the Great Lakes, right, just this past few years, they found some, they were looking at perch and walleye, and bass, I believe, was the third type of fish. They look into the Great Lakes, and what they found is they found some antidepressant into the brain of the fish, right? And when you talk to the water expert, they usually chuckle. At first, I didn't know what that meant, but then after I just kind of poked them a little bit and find out more information, why did they laugh when I asked them those questions? This was published in medical journal. One was published in the Journal of Marine Biology, and that's where they were telling, that they were finding all those chemicals in the fish. And they're like, well, those water experts, they know that it's there, they just don't know how to get it out, right? So one of the reasons for all of that is because people, they just flush their medication out of their toilet, and they end up into our water. And then they don't, again, the expert don't really know how to get it out, right? So even if they sanitize the water and they put all those chemicals, like in Lansing, we have over in the city water, there's over 50 different chemicals that you can't smell or taste. So if people have tap water, which I would not recommend, but if they do, that means that they're putting that into their body every day, right? So that could be a problem. Would you agree? Yeah. So the next one, it says, how does your toxin enters your body? Number one, you have your lungs, right? It goes through your skin. Not that I want to pick on you guys, on you ladies, but ladies are easy to pick on because from the time they were little, they were told that they need to look good, to smell good, you know, so you put all this stuff on your body, on your skin, and you're going to do this for decades from the time you're little. So just imagine what happened is if your skin is your largest organ in your body, and then you're putting all this crap on it every single day, day in and day out, right, all day long, what is that going to do? And then here at the bottom it says digestive tract, and then it goes on to say food additive, soft drink. So we'll talk more about that a little bit. So here it says in the U.S., it says processed food make up close to 70% of the U.S. diet, right? The American will spend about 10% on fast food. The average American will eat about 130 pounds of sugar a year. It's more like 150 pounds now, right? And then it says 1 out of 3 in the U.S. are considered to be obese. We're going to go over those charts in a minute. In the early 2000s, 60% of all middle school and high school, right, they were having all those Coke machines and all that. And the reason that at some point in time they were trying to get them out of the school, but they couldn't do that because of PTA, they refused to do that because they were making money off of it, right? So then you're trying to get the teacher to do a good job with the kids. And of course, it's always the teacher's fault. It's not what the kids are putting in their body for lunch that could drive them, you know, up the wall for the next 3-4 hours. So then they're trying to get those kids to learn better. That doesn't quite work that way. Right? It says portion size and then and now. Supersize me, right? No big deal. So you can see how those things have changed over time. This next one here, it says the America is facing an epidemic. It says the U.S. is the fattest nation in the world, 70%. It's more than 69 now. The Americans are overweight. Over 30% of the American are obese. Obesity is the second largest preventable cause of death in the U.S. I don't know if you guys saw that. I did not see that. That was reported to me that there's a young man that is a friend of mine that he's real big into nutrition, and he was telling me that the CEO of Whole Food made a mention on Twitter that, you know, if people were to eat whole food, that probably we would not have gone through this pandemic here, right? And of course, you know, people were mad. They're like, how can you say things like that? God forbid if we were to eat better and our body was to be stronger, that maybe it wouldn't be affected as much by what we've been going through the past 12 months. Think about this for a minute. Does that sound crazy? To all of us, probably no, right? But to the world, it seems like they're pissed off. I'm just not sure why, right? Everybody should be putting their mask on and their gloves on, but yet putting better food in our body, taking better care of ourselves, then nobody talks about that. That sounds kind of silly. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of like, to me, it's just like we need to take better care of ourselves, and if we do, we're going to be stronger. Right? All of us, with no exception. And then here it says, this is people being obese. That's the trend, 1985, 10 to 14%. You can see this in the country. Then we go 1995, 10 years later, so 15 to 19%. And then we keep going here. This is 2005, another 10 years. Now we're at 25 to 30%, right? Greater than 30%, those in dark red. And then you keep going in 2010, right? This is like we're still 10 years now. So just think about that. 2010, those are that last chart. Over 30% of the people right now they're considered to be obese. That's kind of a problem, right? So let's say if I were to give you stats tonight, if there's 100 people here in the room, half of the room going to die from heart disease, the other 2/3 of the room going to die from cancer, and the other 1/3 at the front, they're going to die from something that is related from being overweight, right? Think about that for a minute. So I'm going to say that one more time, and I'd like you to just memorize this because that's really important. If there's 100 people here in the room, half the room going to die from heart disease, the other 2/3 of the room going to die from cancer, and the other 1/3 at the front, they're going to die from something that is related from being, overweight, right? chronic illnesses. You follow me? Those are all things that are preventable, by the way. Can you imagine how many lives would be saved, right, if we could accomplish that? So here it says what we eat contributes to a toxic load, excess weight. So you have things like MSG, which is monosodium glutamate, high fructose corn syrup, trans fatty acid, sugar, right? Lots of sugar. People have a lot of sugar. So toxin would be affecting your health. It's going to do things like weight gain, food craving. Like when people are craving for either salt or sugar, is that common?
Yeah.
Right? That's common. Just about everybody you talk to, they either have sweet craving or sugar or salt craving. And there's a meaning to that. Right? People putting weight on that they can't get rid of, being tired, having a hard time to sleep. We live in a society right now that people pretty much you can't sleep. Right? And then here it says digestion and other gastrointestinal problem, hormonal dysfunction, reduced mental clarity, joint pain, muscle pain, low libido, allergies. Those are all symptoms that can be related to a person being toxic. Right? You could lump up, millions of people just like that, which is pretty amazing, right? Because people are spending right now, right, billions of dollars to try to fix those problems, and oftentimes, what they're going to be, the best thing that they're going to get for it is a pill, and the pill is not going to fix it. On this next one here, it says, how does your body remove the toxins? It uses your lymphatic system, your blood, your skin, your kidneys, your colon, your lungs, and your liver. So all of those organs, your body is using multiple organs to detoxify. So if you're going to consider doing a cleanse, you'd like to have a cleanse that's going to be touching on all of those systems, right, to optimize the ability of your body to get rid of that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? So if you were to consider a cleanse, you would be looking at something that can address all of those things at one time, if you're truly serious about cleansing, right?
Right.
So here it says your body, this is like the big guy right here. Your liver has the ability to detoxify, and it goes to different phase of detoxification. And I don't want to make this complicated, but you have phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification, and the first phase is your liver having the ability of your liver to get rid of the small stuff. And then when it's more complicated, then your liver is going to go through that second phase of detoxification to ultimately get rid of everything. So here it says in phase 1, this would be like getting your garbage package for pickup, right? And in phase 2, it's considered that the garbage pickup, it's the most, right? If it's not picked up, then the toxin will collect in the body. So if your body is not optimized to detoxify, it would recirculate through your body. So do you understand that how many people would just come up to me and say, well, Dr. Jean-Guy, my joints are hurting all over, I must have arthritis. Of course, everybody's got arthritis these days, right? If your joints are hurting, you think you have arthritis. Oftentimes what happens is when you have arthritis, it's just the crap is recirculating through your body, right? And then it just lays in the joints. So when a person is toxic, it's very common that they get up in the morning and they just can't walk, their feet hurts, they think they have plantar fasciitis, right? They're like, I'm hurting all over, I have arthritis. No, you don't have arthritis, you're just getting old, you're just getting older and you're full of toxins because you've never detoxified. Right? Your body is not functioning properly, it's not clearing, the crap out. Right? You guys follow me? So the body is supposed to be doing that, and your liver plays a big part into that. So you have those toxins that are coming in, and then ultimately your body's going to be able to conjugate those things to be able to get them out, and that's what the liver does. And it's really complex, but it's really beautiful. When your body functions properly, then your body has the ability to do that. There's somebody that I knew that was working at Michigan State. His job was he was a PhD in biochemistry, and he studied chemicals, right? So his job is when a company would come in, they wanted to find out how much of this chemical, at which level it would become toxic into your body. Now listen to this here, because this is really important. And after he would study those chemicals, right, he would come up with, after a few months, right, 6 months, he would study that and find out how much that you would need in order to become toxic. But what they never did, right, and this is something that he would relate to me, he's like, listen, we knew that, let's say, for instance, this particular chemical would become toxic at this amount in the body. So we knew that. But we never studied those chemicals long term, so we did not know really what they did to the body. And he said we never put multiple chemicals at one time. So let's say, for instance, we know that all those chemicals at some level, they are toxic, but if we don't study them together and they all use the same pathways to be cleared, right? Is that possible that the body could become overwhelmed at some point? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But they never study that, right? They don't study the chemicals with the drugs. They don't study the chemicals with the pesticides, with the herbicides. They don't do that. There's none of those studies, right? So therefore, what happened is oftentimes they're like, this is safe. It's not a big deal. But when you start combining all of those things together and you do that for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, then guess what happened? Your body is trying to do the best that it can with it. It's just going to try to store it, right? And one of the best places to store the crap is in the breast tissue. So why do you see so many female that have breast cancer, right? You see lots of those, right? Now the breast tissue is fat. So what happened is fat cells are the best cells to store the crap, right? So understanding that it's important to be able to detoxify and let go of those toxins are really, really important, right? And when you can do that on a regular basis, your chances of having chronic illnesses goes way down, right? If you do this right. So on this next one here is, I'm going to talk to you tonight about, there's 2 different programs that we use in our office. I want to tell you why we use them, right? I kind of already give you a hint. The reason why I like them is, number 1 is because we're using food, right? So you guys know the difference between food and product? You know, a product is, if it's man-made, that's considered to be a product. So food, there's no label on it, right? If you leave it on the counter, it's going to be bad very shortly. Yes?
Yes.
So I have been using whole food supplements therapeutically for people to get better for almost 20 years now, right? And it makes sense to me, having an expertise in health and wellness and nutrition, that if we're going to be helping the body to get better, we're going to be using food to do that, right? We're going to be using concentrated food. And we've been using this 21-day detox program. There's also 28 days from Standard Process. And Standard Process, if you don't know about, we use a lot of different companies, but Standard Process, I've been using that companies for many years. One of the reasons why I like them, right, just so you know, is Dr. Jonke grew up on a farm. You might not know that about me. And I like the idea of starting from the ground, right? So if you go to Standard Process Farm since 1929, they've had an organic farm since that time, right? They've been, any one of us here in this room, we can have a little garden there, 6 by 9, and we can have an organic garden. But what about having one that is 1,000 acres, right? Think about that. This has been going on since 1929. So when you go to the farm, I've been there several times a year, right? Probably a dozen times now. And using food in order to detoxify the body makes sense to me, right? So this cleanse is not a starving cleanse. You're going to eat. You're not going to starve yourself. That's not what it's designed for. But we're going to use concentrated food in order to optimize the body's ability to get rid of the toxins. You follow me? Right? So the 21-day cleanse, it says guideline for healthy eating, so there's no calorie restriction. It says organically grown whole food supplements that supports your body's natural effort to remove the toxins. Right? So here it says there's this thing that is used on the program. It's called SP Complete. SP Complete has whey protein in it. There's also another one that has rice protein, which is dairy-free. And then you have barley grass, rice, buckwheat, flax, alfalfa. Right? I teach people, I'm like green grass, alfalfa, Brussels sprout, this all the stuff you guys eat every day. And usually people laugh. They're like, oh, of course not. We don't do that. Right? So this is all concentrated. When you open up the tub there, it smells bad, it tastes bad. It doesn't look good, right? If it's good, it's probably not good for you, right? If it tastes good, it's probably not good for you. People are like, oh, well, that's not what I want. I'm like, well, I understand, right? When we don't eat food, right? When you start eating food, it doesn't taste good because you've been eating crap for decades, right? And when you eat crap, when you eat cake, cookies, candies, ice cream, bread, rice, and pasta, and you do that day in and day out, and you do that for decades, right? Nothing tastes good anymore unless it's loaded with chemicals. When you start eating real food, initially it doesn't quite taste good because you're not used to that, but when you start doing it, right, now your taste bud's gonna start changing again. And then you're gonna realize that when you go back and eat the crap, then you're not gonna like that because it's really gonna taste bad. Versus when you're eating real food, it's truly a game changer, right? So in the SP Complete, all this stuff is in there, and this can be used as a meal replacement. There's also another thing that is available here. It says available dairy-free, and then you also have chocolate and vanilla. This is for, I'm not going to say. This is just for the weaker kind, you know, that wants to have something to taste good. But you could have both, right? You could have the SP Complete regular, and you could have some of the vanilla one, or some of the chocolate. They can be put together. They use monk fruit in the for the flavoring, you know, to make it sweeter. And so monk fruit does not affect blood sugar. That's the reason why standard process will use that. Stevia does not do that as well. Then you have this thing called SP Cleanse. SP Cleanse is used. You take 7 of those 3 times a day. It's 21 per day. You do that the first week. And the reason why you do this is to cleanse, right? That's what the goal is to cleanse. You have things in there like, you know, berry powder. It's a natural diuretic. When you start taking the SP Cleanse, you're going to go to the bathroom more. Some of you, it's like foreign to you because you go to the bathroom once a day and you think it's too much, right? And then you're going to start going to the bathroom on a regular basis, meaning that you're going to need some pee break there because it's just going to happen. The reason why this is happening is because it's cleansing your kidney. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Right? Then you're also going to have this red clover flower, which is promote the cleansing of the blood. The apple pectin, which is natural fiber. The burdock root, which promotes healthy kidneys. And then you have barley grass, Spanish backradish, right? Oregon grapefruit powder, which is a good source of antioxidant. Fenugreek seed powder, which is cholesterol metabolism. So there's a lot of people over the years, and I have some numbers. People would go get a blood test before and after. Just so you know, cholesterol can change just like that within 10 days, right? Most people don't know that. They're like, oh, my cholesterol is bad. It's going to be bad for the next year somehow until they do the next blood test. Your cholesterol can go down 200 points just in a matter of 20 days, right? It happens real fast. Your triglyceride, if your triglycerides are high, I just want to give you just a hint on your blood test. If your triglycerides are high, triglyceride is the same as the crapometer, right? The more crap you eat, the more that your triglyceride is going to go up, right? And even when people are like, oh, Dr. Jean-Guy, I don't do any bad things, I'm like, well, you're not telling me the truth. You're just going to the closet to do it, okay? If the triglycerides are high, it's a crapometer. You eat a lot of crap, your triglyceride is going to be high, right? Your cholesterol is only adapting for the crap that you're putting into your body. Cholesterol will be high in the body when there's inflammation. When you reduce the inflammation, cholesterol is going to come down. There's no such thing as good and bad cholesterol, there's just cholesterol, right? Now your liver, 75% of your cholesterol is produced in your liver. Your liver is going to deploy cholesterol when there's inflammation to patch it up. It's going to use the LDL, which out there in the medical world, they're like, oh, this is the bad cholesterol. This is not the bad cholesterol, it's the taxi cab, right? Your cholesterol needs a taxi cab to be deployed, and then when it comes back, it uses the HDL, which in this world, they would say, well, those are the good cholesterol, right? There's no such thing good or bad. There's just cholesterol. Your body's just trying to get the job done. When there's inflammation, it's going to go up naturally. It just happens just like that, right? It can go down just like that, and it can go up just like that. Matter of fact, all your hormones are all made out of cholesterol, so if cholesterol wasn't important, right, I don't think that God would have designed your body to make it, right? You guys follow me on that? So, that's the SP Cleanse. You do that 3 times a day. That's 21 a day. Then after that, you do this thing called SP Green. You're going to do that from day 8 all the way to day 21. You take 10 of those a day, 5 twice a day, right? This is designed to rebuild. After we cleanse the house, then I'm going to rebuild it, right? So then you start the SP Green. And then in the meantime, from start to finish, you're going to take this guy here, Whole Food Fibers. If you don't like capsules, you can do this. It's in powder. You can put that in your shake. Or you can do the Gastro Fibers, which is in a capsule, and you take three times a day. Right? On the cleanse, usually there's a couple things that happen that are common. People's going to get constipated. Why do you think it happens? Because people don't eat enough fibers to begin with, so when they start eating fibers, they get clogged up. Right? So then they call me, they text me, they email me. They're like, this is no good, I just bowels are not moving, this is bad for me. Yeah, you can eat McDonald's every day, that's good for you, but just God forbid, you were to be on the cleanse, that's eat vegetables all day long, you can't do that. Right? That might be like somehow it's going to be bad for you. So just so you know, gastro fibers, so when people start bringing fibers in, they can be, their bowels going to slow down. So the remedy for that is you got to make sure that you eat plenty of green vegetables and you drink plenty of water. Right? Now, in some cases, I would tell the person, well, just cut the gastrofibers by half. You can do that for a few days, and then your body will catch up. Does that make sense? Right? Matter of fact, this is really important. One of the number one cancer out there, right, it's cancer of your gastrointestinal tract. And one of the main reasons for that is because people don't eat enough fibers. When you eat cake, cookies, candies, ice cream, bread, rice, and pasta at McDonald's every day, there's just no way, right, that you're not going to have, colorectal cancer or some type of cancer that is related to your gut, right? So that's the reason why we use this. So now the entire body is being addressed during those 21 days. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So here it says the journey begin. You can have as many fruits and vegetables as you can, right? Usually you want to have twice as many vegetables you have fruit, particularly green leafy vegetables. You're going to eat twice as many vegetables as fruit. We just talked about that. And then you're going to get your protein from your shakes. And then you can also have rice or lentils, or you can have both, right? Rice and lentils. So that's how you're going to get some more protein on top of what you're getting from your shakes. Does that make sense? Right? So the first 10 days, you don't eat any animal protein. No animal protein the first 10 days. You're going to get your protein from the shake, and you're going to get your protein from lentils or wild rice or brown rice. Right? And then after the first 10 days, then you're going to start eating some clean animal protein. It's going to start on day 11, and then you'll do that all the way through day 21. So here it says you're going to drink some water. Spring water would be best because of the minerals. High quality oils like olive oil and coconut oil and those kind of things. You're going to exercise on a regular basis if you can, even if you just walk, because the purpose of that is you're going to increase circulation. When you increase circulation, then you can get rid of the crap. Yes? It's pretty simple stuff. Now what to expect, right? I'm going to tell you what to expect when you do a cleanse. If you've never done a cleanse, what to expect is you could be tired, right? Would that make sense? That as your body's starting to detoxify, that the first day usually people feel great, right? They're like, this is easy, that's going to be easy. And then usually on day 2 and 3, right? Then that's usually where people that if something's going to happen, it's going to happen then. People are going to be more tired. They might have a headache. They might have migraine headaches. They might have to be in bed for a few extra hours. So the reason why this is happening is if you've been drinking 2 pots of coffee every day for the past 10 years, could that be a problem? Yeah, not for everybody, but for a lot of people when they do a cleanse, usually on day 2, 3, and 4, that's when it's going to be harder on their body. And then after that, harder meaning that a person usually going to be more tired. It's not everybody. Right? But it happens. And if it happens when people call me or they email me or they text me, I'm like, the question people will ask are like, should I quit? I'm like, this is the best thing you've ever done in your life, and now you have one tough day and you're going to quit. Right? You're never going to hear yes from me. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Right? People are like, oh, I cheated today. Should I quit? I mean, they just want me to validate them. I'm like, no, I'm never going to do that. It's the best you've ever done in your life. No, you're not quitting. Right? I mean, you're there for the run. You don't quit. People don't quit. So here it says on day 11, 21, you're going to do the same as above, but then you're going to be adding some clean protein, like fish and meat, so you can have organic grass-fed beef, or you can have some chicken, you can have some fish, wild-caught. So any of the stuff that is clean protein, and then you're going to continue doing the exact same thing as what you did before. So when a person wants to lose weight, I know this is a topic. People always ask me, am I going to be losing weight when I do a cleanse? The purpose of the cleanse is not for weight loss, even though, hey, you know what? Usually when people do a cleanse, they're like, well, yeah, but I want to lose weight. I'm like, I understand. But that's not what the purpose of a cleanse is. Now, when people do the 21-day cleanse, people will lose anywhere between 7 to 15 pounds on the cleanse, right? That's usually the average. But that's not what it's designed for. Now, 7 to 15 pounds, some people are like, oh, that sounds great. Some people are like, well, I want to lose 100. I'm like, well, just do it 10 times then, right? I'm just teasing. So, understand what you're trying to do with the cleanse. The cleanse is to allow the body to function better, right? That's what the purpose is. Do people going to lose weight? Yeah, if you need to lose weight, there's people that they're like, well, I don't want to lose any weight. I'm like, well, if you don't need to lose weight, you're not going to lose weight. But if you would like to lose more weight while you're on the cleanse, right? If you're staying off of the fruit stuff, right? The sugar stuff, then you're going to be losing more weight. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Ultimately, the reason why people are packing up, the pounds in the body is because the sugar turns into fat, right? So the more sugar you eat, the more your body, it turns into adipose tissue. This is like simple physiology 101, right? So that's how the journey began. It says what to avoid. You're going to avoid the bad stuff like the margarine, corn oil, vegetable oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, all those vegetable oils that are high in omega-6 fatty acid. Anything that is hydrogenated or trans fatty acid. Caffeine and alcohol on the program, you're not supposed to have that. Coffee, tobacco, other stimulant, soft drink, nuts, beans, dairy, grain, processed or refined food, dry canned vegetables, fruit, right? Cure, smoke, luncheon meat. So it's pretty common sense. When people start to cleanse, there's a book, and the book tells you step by step exactly how to do it. You just can't go wrong. The only way that you could go wrong is if you just decide to never look at the book. Right? It's right there in the book. It tells you day by day, step by step. You know, there's even an app that you can download, and it tells you exactly what you need to do on which day that you're at and exactly what needs to be done. Right? So it's very simple. It tells you to hold your hands the whole time. Right? Matter of fact, right now, Standard Process, they have a challenge for 21 days. They send you an email every day. They give you a little tap on your back. You know, people send me email, or they text me, or they call me, and when a person starts, their cleanse. If, you started because a person was in the class, then I just hold the person's hand. We're going to do this together, right? I know a little bit about it because we've done it over 500 times. Yes? I've done those many times, which is pretty amazing. My story about the cleanse, if I can just tell you, is I used to have, I don't know if anybody can relate to that, or you've known people like this, but when I graduated from chiropractic school, that was not pretty. Dr. Jonke was like, I spent a lot of time studying, sitting on my butt, did not do a whole lot. And I was like over 210 pounds. And I played in the major junior hockey league when I was back in my hockey career. I was 185 pounds. So I was way over where I was supposed to be back in those days. So at that time, right, when I started to have my wife, she'd love to have the Schwanzman over. I'm not sure why, but. And then she would dare me to eat this gallon of ice cream. It was more like a big bucket, and I do that every day, right? It was not pretty, just so you know. I mean, if anybody loves ice cream here, or am I the only one? Yeah, I got a few like. So anyway, I had a lot of that every single day, right? So by the time I graduated from chiropractic school, I was over 210 pounds. And so one of the things that happened is, if I was to do some, like a breast exam, right, I could feel some nodule, and some of you can relate to this, men and women, and some of those areas, they're either like, it feels like a nodule, or it feels very tender. And the reason for that is you already know the answers, because the crap has been accumulating, right, and you can feel that. Matter of fact, it's very common in women that they think they have breast cancer, but what they have is they have those cysts in the breast because they're loaded with crap, number one, and then number two, they don't have enough iodine into their diet, and as a result of that, the breast tissue is not going to be healthy. And also what's very common is people are going to have this thing called Emangiomo. You guys know what that is? Those little red spots. You can see that on your skin. It's red, right? They're little red spots. You have them all over. Or people will have this peach fuzz right on their cheek. When you have that, that means that you're estrogen dominant. That's what it means. Right? So when you have those little red spots, you can see them. People have it on their arm. People have it on their chest. People have it on their torso. So those little hemangioma, that means that you're estrogen dominant. This happens in men. It happens in women. And then, and as a result of that, when a person is estrogen dominant, they're also going to have this little peach fuzz there. They're going to have a hard time with, facial hair growing. And the reason for that is because your estrogen in your body is just going out the roof. And that means that you have a liver that doesn't function properly, right? So when people are like, well, when you're estrogen dominant, what do? Well, you need to cleanse. And you need to cleanse a lot, right? Because the way that your body gets rid of those excess estrogen, it uses your liver to do that, right? This young man was telling me about gallbladder, right? Your gallbladder, your liver produces bile. The bile is being stored to your gallbladder. And then every time that you put food into your body, then the bile going to tag with the food, right? It's going to emulsify the fat. That's one of the functions. The next function of the bile is it will tag the toxins like excess estrogen, and it will pull it out of the body. So when that system doesn't function properly, then guess what? All those toxins, they all just back up into your body and they recirculate, and then people will start having hormonal imbalance. right? Estrogen is very common. This happens in men and it happens in women. So I used to have that, right? You could feel that I would never, anybody, go nowhere near, to just, in those areas, I had those spots there, they were really tender. I mean, you couldn't touch me. And after I did the cleanse twice in a row for 21 days, right, all those nodules, they were all gone, which was pretty amazing. Right? But I've seen this happening over and over again, many times, and that's been probably one of my, besides the weight that's been shed off the body, is this idea of like balancing out the hormones in the body is huge, right? So, what to avoid, that's right there in the book. It tells you step by step. It's very simple. Okay, so here it says what to expect from your purification. More energy. How many of you would like to have more energy? Yes? Okay, am I the only one? Okay, no. All of you. Losing 1 or 2 pounds if you need to lose it. Yes?
Yes.
I know some of you, if you're not interested in losing weight, I mean, we don't like you, that's okay. Let's not say it. Don't raise your hand right now. You're going to digest your food better, so when people are bloated, they have heartburn, they have indigestion, right? This stuff here, this is going to correct that. It's going to reduce your joint pain. The reason for that is because when you don't recirculate the crap and it dumps into your joints, right? This is going to, it will correct that as well. You're going to have a clearer skin because now you're detoxifying, you're getting rid of all of that stuff. Your hair is going to look better. You're going to improve your mood. I guess if you're by yourself, nobody cares, but if you have a spouse, they might care. And then ultimately, you're going to be healthier, right? So here it says some patient experience. It says I've lost 9 to 11 pounds each time that I've been doing the program. What's actually not the program's real intent. We talked about that. It says the program eliminates lots of your body's toxins. The number one thing that it's done for me is to eliminate my blood pressure medicine. It has been help with my stuffy nose, achy muscles, bloating. It has been giving me more energy throughout the day. So there's 2 things that happen when people are in the cleanse. If a person has chronic illnesses like blood pressure, if a person is taking blood pressure pill or sugar pill, right? Listen to my words right now. If you do the cleanse and you're taking blood pressure pill or sugar pill, when you start this cleanse, those 2 things are going to change. So you need to monitor your sugar and you need to monitor your blood pressure, right? Now, if your blood pressure was to come down, are you just like, you're going to call me, you're going to say, Dr. Jean-Guy, I think I need to quit the cleanse because my blood pressure is low, right? Believe it or not, people do that, right? Because they think that the cleanse now is the problem. It's not the pill they've been taking for the past 30 years, it's the cleanse, right? So just so you know, as you're becoming healthier, could that be possible that maybe you don't need as much medication? Would that be possible?
Yes.
Would that be okay with everybody?
Yes.
If you're interested in health, I would think so. Right? So what that means is, if you take your blood pressure every day and you see your blood pressure coming down, maybe you don't need to take as much medication. So then you'd be checking with your doctor and say, hey, you know what? I'm getting healthier, so maybe I don't need to take as much medication. Same thing is going to happen with blood sugar. When you stop eating cake, cookies, candies, ice cream, bread, rice, and pasta every day, right, and you're eating real food and your blood sugar comes down, do you need to take more glucophage? Or maybe you need to take, you're becoming healthier and maybe you don't need as much. How's that sound? Maybe you might not need as much metformin. Would that be possible? Would anybody hate that idea? Right? Usually people are like, oh no, that sounds good. Okay, so those things are going to happen. So here it says, my biggest concern when I first started this program would be am I going to be hungry? People always ask me that, right? This is not like a program for you to starve yourself. It says this never happened. Maintain my weight loss. I still drink the shake every day. So there's people that this has to be complete. You can do that. A person can, even when they're done with the program, they can continue to do that, right? It's like a meal replacement, right? Brussels sprout, alfalfa, green grass, yes? You guys do that every day? Yes? Okay. Okay, good. So here's some before and after. This is blood tests. We've had some really type A people. They're like, I don't believe you. I'm like, that's great. Go ahead and go get a test done. So then we can find out what happened. Cholesterol, April 9, 344. Triglyceride, those are the crapometer, yes? And then, so this is your risk of having a heart attack. And then before and after, this is April, this is May, your cholesterol 182, triglyceride 108, and then your heart risk is way down. Yes? Pretty good? This is no magic, just so you know, right? This is not like magic. This is how your body works. Your body wants to be healthy. You just got to create an environment for it. So if you want to be healthy, right, you create an environment for health, and then your bodies will improve. So make the best of your detox. It says you got to plan ahead, stuck home with proper food, get rid of the junk. We're here to help. When people start to cleanse, anybody can have my number. People are like, really? You give your number to people? I'm like, well, if you don't want it, you don't have to have it, right? You just like, don't write it down. But people do have my number. They do text me, or, they call me if they need to, right? When people text, if it's too long, I only type with one finger. I usually call people back, right? Unless I think that I can, speak this out, or Dr. Denise help me out. So, right, I give people my number because sometimes maybe you have questions. And I understand people don't want to bother me, but if you were to have a question and you're like, hey, you know what, I really don't know what to do and I need an answer now, you can text me, okay? If I didn't want people to have my number, I wouldn't give them my number, right? Once people start working with us at our office, people are they're just like family. If your interest is health, right, my interest is for you to be healthy, so I'm here to help you out. If you don't want the help, I guess that's okay, but, that'd be silly. If you're going to be investing in your health, you want somebody that's going to hold your hands, that's going to help you out. You're not by yourself on this journey. So here it says schedule massage. Massage is like walking. It's going to help to promote blood flow, so remove the toxins. If you have access to a sauna, here at Gilead, we have saunas that, can be used. We also have foot bath. We have that at both of our offices. You want to make sure that you get plenty of sleep. Matter of fact, people sleep better when they're in the cleanse because they don't eat crap. Exercising, hydration is important. Think positive, right? How many of you here, am I the only one that have, self-sabotaging yourself at some point in time? Yes? Yeah, everybody's done that, right? So if you want to succeed for something, people always ask me, how do you succeed on this health journey? Well, if you know of anybody that's been an addict, like they're alcoholic, and they start going to the meeting. How many people that are alcoholic that they can just say, I don't need to go to the meeting. I can do this on my own, right? I don't need any help. What are the chances they're going to be successful, right? Pretty slim to none. Would you agree? Okay. I don't drink, so I don't really know, but I'm told. Of everybody I've ever met, when you have an addiction, you want to be hanging out with the people that want the same thing as what you want. If you want health, you hang out with people that want that. Yes? Mm-hmm. Very good. If this is somebody in your family that's just raining on your parade, you don't want to be around them. Yes? Right. I understand some of you are like, yeah, but that's my sister. I'm like, yeah, you just don't talk to her for a while. Right? Keep her far away. Yes? Okay. So here it says, if you go on the Standard Process website, it says there's a patient guide, there's a cookbook, you have a bunch of stuff there. Pretty much, if you want, something that is already laid out for you, it's right there, right? You have the ability to put your hands on all this to make it as easy as possible. You have our office, you have the app, you have the website, you have the book that tells you step by step. You just can't fail, right? You can only fail if you choose to fail. That's completely your choice. But if you choose this year to be healthier and you want to start by doing this cleanse, right, you can do it. Any one of you here, you can do it if you choose to, right? It's completely up to you. So any questions about that? Anything that I did not answer? Besides this young lady here, her husband said she's going to have many questions. We're going to wait, before I get her out of the gate. Any questions? No questions. Go ahead.
When is there a notice improvement? At what point?
Usually improvement in terms of which symptom.
Just how you feel in general.
Usually it's going to be, in my experience, somewhere around day 4, right? Now some people it's faster, some people it takes a little bit longer. It depends how much layer that you need to go through. There is a new, I'm not going to call it new and improved, but there is a new cleanse. Right, this is this one here. It's called the SP Detox Balance. This is a 28-day cleanse, and the difference between this guy right here and this guy right here is all of those capsules. They're all being put in here into the powder. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because you just forced me, so I had to. Right, I flew to North Carolina State University where they do all this research and studies on detoxification. So for many years, the 21-day program's been around, and it's been absolutely amazing, right? Again, we've done it hundreds of times. And then about 3 years ago, they came out with this one. It's a 28-day detox, and they put all the capsules. There's some people that are like, I can't take that many capsules. And I'm like, well, you can open them up. You just put it in your shake, right? There's always a solution. If you really want to get healthier, there's something you can do, right? But this option here, it's a 28-day program. In this program, you have all the powder. The powder is all the stuff that is in there. It's in here. So you only do your shake and you're done. But the way that it's set up and what I learned, what the new research is supporting, is when people are going through detoxification, right, their body is using more amino acid. They're using more protein. You follow me? So in this program right here, when you take 1 serving of this, you have 17 grams of protein. In this one in here, you have 10 grams of protein. So there's more protein in here. Now in this program right here, you can have clean protein right from day 1. In this program, you don't. You only have fruits and vegetables for the first 10 days, right? So there's people that are like, well, maybe this is too steep for me. You know, that'd be easier for me if I start with something like this, because you can have animal protein right from day 1. It's not right or wrong. I'm just telling you that there's some plus and minus to both of them, right? There's one that you can start with the animal protein right on day 1. The other one, you start on day 10. That's the way it's designed. When a person goes through phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification, your body's using more protein to do that. So now to circle back, when you first start with this here, if you follow the book to the T, right, it's going to say the first 3 days you're only going to have 1 shake a day. Because now they understand the detox process better. So then they're like, after the first 3 days, then you're ramping it up. Then you're going to do 2 shakes. And then after that, you're going to do that for 3 days. And then you're going to do 3 shakes, right? So that's the way this program is laid out. Could you do the same with this? You could, right? But on this program here, it says that you're going to do 2 to 3 shakes a day. If you want to ease the burden on your body, and you know that you're really toxic, you just don't do as much, right? Instead of doing 3 shakes, you would just start with 1. You do that for a few days, so then you would ease the burden on your body. So the chances are of you feeling bad probably goes down to, pretty slim, right? As far as the energy, there's people sending me email 11 o'clock at night. They're like, I'm looking for a second job. And I'm like, well, I don't have anything available right now, but hey, if I find somebody that, is looking for another, is looking to hire, I'm going to let them know. Because usually people's energy will start going up. They're like, you know what, I feel fantastic. This is the best I've felt in years, right? So that's usually what will happen. It's usually around day 4, right? That's been my experience most of the time. That's what people feels like, right? So that's what I have experienced. So on this one here, just to circle back, there is a book that comes with that. Same thing as this guy. This one here is 28 days, but you're only using the powder. That's the difference between those 2 programs, right? And the biggest difference is you can have animal protein from day 1. Now, sometimes I'm not a fan of that because there is some people that have issues with animal protein, right? Meaning that people might have some issues with eggs, and they just don't know they have issues with eggs, and that's the reason why they're bloated, right? So if you just do fruits and vegetables for 10 days, then you're eliminating corn, soy, wheat, eggs, dairy. All of that is off the chart. So when you take everything that is inflammatory to the body, oftentimes is the quickest way to get to, a place where the body's happy. Right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little bit laid out differently. Okay, questions? Questions? I answer all the questions? Oh my goodness, I don't believe that, but that's...
What's the best time of day to take these shakes?
Best time of day, you can have just the same thing as your normal routine if you were to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? So usually my routine when I do the cleanse is, I'll do a shake for, breakfast, and then, at lunchtime I'll have a shake and a salad, and at dinner time then we'll have a stir fry. Because that's usually when I get home and we have a little bit more time to put this, this food thing together. But there's people, they have a lot of creative way, they start making soup and they start doing all this stuff. I mean, I'm pretty plain guy, I used to go, on the farm, just grab stuff and just stick it in my mouth. So I have no problem eating dirt and all this stuff. I'm good with that, right? It's like, keep it plain. But some people want to have some variety, so they give you all the different recipe that you can make, the type of shakes you can make. I'm pretty boring. I just kind of always do the same. Any other questions? The investment. Let's talk about the investment. The investment over the course of those 21 days or 28 days, it's like $11, right? If we're talking from a day to day, I think one of the cleanses is $240. The other cleanse is $250 or $10 differences. The 28-day cleanse, you have 3 tubs. It lasts for 28 days. The 21-day cleanse, right? It's 21 days. Again, it's like $11 a day, and that's your investment. People are like, oh, that's expensive. I'm like, well, you know, all the crap that people eat every day, you know, I mean, I'm telling you that most people, it's not even an expense. They're going to be saving money. People go to Starbucks every day, right? They'll spend $5, $10. They're just going to save it there, right? Or people have all the stuff that they shouldn't be putting in their body. They'll be saving it there. I'm telling you, it's an investment. It's not an expense, for sure, right? Go ahead.
Question 2 is, after you take a shake,
Yeah.
do you still feel that fullness that you would with a meal, or not really?
If you're just taking a shake by itself, is that what you're asking?
Like breakfast, you said, then lunch, and then...
No. The reason why people are having this fullness and all that is because their gut is like completely destroyed, right? So you have the upper digestive tract and the lower digestive tract. They all have a function, right? Your stomach needs to be very acidic. If your stomach is not acidic, it cannot break down protein properly. Your small intestine should be alkaline, and your large intestine should be very acidic. If your large intestine is not acidic, then you're going to be farting all the time, right? So one time I asked this lady, you know, she's 23 years old, she came in and I said, hey, do you have a regular bowel movement? She says, yes, Dr. Junkie. I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, clockwork every 3 weeks, right? Now, interestingly enough, right, all of you look surprised, but you know what? There's always people out there that they're not going to say one word, but they just think that in their mind, right, they've been going to the bathroom once a week for the past 20 years, so they think it's normal, right? You eat 3 times a day, and you're just going to evacuate, you know, once every 3 weeks. That just doesn't work, right? So this gut here is designed that things are going in and things needs to go out. And every part of your gut has a different pH and it has a different function. So you have to understand how physiology works, right? Should you have, like, I ask people, I'm like, are you tired? And people are like, no, I'm not tired, I'm fatigued. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that's the same thing. But you know what? Sometimes people don't think it's the same. I'm like, do you get any heartburn? They're like, no, but I get acid reflux. I'm like, okay, well, that's the same thing to me. But, you know, to some people, depending how they define and what does that make sense to, you know, to them, right? They just like, they have a meaning for the words that they're using and what people are experiencing. When people are bloated after they eat, that just means that your body is not digesting fat, right? Your body is not processing the fat properly. So there is some food like artichoke and, you know, beets that can help with that. But ultimately, the liver is not functioning properly. If your liver is producing the bile that it should, right, then when the food comes in, the bile is going to start emulsifying the fat and your body's going to break down the stuff. But if your body doesn't do that well, then guess what? We're going to have some issues. Sometimes this thing about the gallbladder, when they start removing it because it's low functioning, is because the gallbladder has been overwhelmed. You see a lot of women these days that are 45, 50 years old. If you take 10 of them, half of them don't have gallbladder, which is more common in women than it is in men. The reason for that is because women will have more issues with hormones. Yes or yes?
Yeah.
Say yes. Of
Yeah.
course. Because what happened is when you've been put, you know, number one is your body hormonally, right, versus, you know, a man in terms of the estrogen and progesterone is built different. And then on top of that, you have all the food that people put into their body that has been sprayed with pesticides and herbicides that is estrogen dominant. And as a result of that, then when you have all of this imbalance of hormones in the body, then your bile that is out of your gallbladder is trying to pull it out of the body, but then it's working 24/7. So then when it gets overworked, then guess what happened? It just goes kaput, right? But that's okay. We're just going to cut that part out because you don't really need it. It's just a spare part. Yes? Because that's what we did. That's what we do. When parts don't work, we just cut them off, right? Now, you guys might understand better, but a lot of people don't because they just don't know, right? They just don't know better. They're like, well, the doctor said my gallbladder is low functioning, so we're just going to take it out. My question is always like, well, why would that be low functioning, right? Why? There's a reason for that, right? Can you save a gallbladder or can you turn that around? Yeah, I've turned around hundreds of them, right? You're just going to know how to do it. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. Did you believe them? I guess you did, didn't you? It's out now. And what is your question? You want me to make you feel bad now or what? Well, it is a bad thing, but what are we going to do about it? Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it, but there's one thing that it's telling us, and when you have a gallbladder that was not functioning properly to begin with, you know that you need to look at the real problem. Taking the gallbladder out didn't fix the real problem, right? If the gallbladder was sick, there's a reason why the gallbladder was sick. There's a cause, right? It's like the service engine light is on, you put duct tape over it. Did that fix the problem? Well, of course, you're not seeing the lights, you keep driving the car. That didn't fix the problem. Do people have headaches because they don't have enough aspirin in their brain? Do people have acid reflux because they don't have enough Tums in their belly?
No.
But yet people do that every day. They never question it, right? So when people are like, well, I don't have this organ and I don't have that one, guess what? We're not going to go back now. However, you still need to be asking the same question, right? I'm a chiropractor. People come in, they've had back pain, they have back surgery. They're like, well, Dr. Jean-Guy, was the surgery bad for me? I'm like, well, what do you want me to say now? It's done, right? I'm not going to tell you it's bad. I mean, it is bad, but the question is always the same. It's like, well, if there's something that led you to have back surgery, would you agree that there's probably a reason why you had a bad back? Would you agree with that?
Right.
Did you fix that? If you didn't fix that, even if you do back surgery, do you think that, why do you think that 90% of back surgery are failed? Because we haven't fixed the cause, right? Even if they were giving free drugs and free, surgery to everybody in this country, do you think it would be healthier? No, even if it was free, right? So what I want all of you here to understand, I'm not mad, I'm just getting excited about what I do, right? I want you to understand is when you have a health problem, the question is all of you that you need to be asking yourself and say, what's causing that? Why? Right? If my gallbladder is not working properly, why is that? Right? So now, for instance, because you guys have this fixation on gallbladder tonight, so I guess we'll talk about gallbladder, but so let's say that you don't have a gallbladder, right? So you want to be asking, well, why wasn't it working to begin with? Right? Most likely the liver is not functioning properly. The digestive system wasn't functioning properly. That's where you need to go back to. And then I would dare to say that when a person, if you're a female, the chances are probably 90+% of the time you also had hormonal issues. Right? What does that mean? What does that look like? I'm going to tell you what that looked like. Some of you are going to have like big eyes when I say this, but from the time a little girl is 12 years old, she has her first menstrual cycle. So here's what it's going to look like. She's going to have heavy bleeding. She's going to have cramping. She's going to have PMS. She's going to have nodule in her breast every time she's about to have a menstrual cycle. She's more likely to have cyst or to have PCOS or to have endometriosis. All of those things that I just talked about there, that means a person is estrogen dominant. When you bleed heavy, nonstop, that means you're estrogen dominant. Right? When you have issues with your menstrual cycle your whole life, that means you're estrogen dominant. And then you go see the doctor, and then they give you the birth control, they give you more estrogen, right? So now you were estrogen dominant to begin with, then it's just going to be even worse. But now we're going to stop your cycle because, yes, we take the duct tape, we put it over the light, and you're like, that's no problem, we fix the problem. And then you get to be 22, 25, 26, you're trying to have a baby, get off the birth control, and you can't have babies, right? Because guess what? You still have the same problem. You never fixed the problem. But we just call it something different. Now you have perimenopause. Now we have a drug for that. And then if you pass the perimenopause, you go see your doctor, and then you're like, well, I have like low libido, and I can't sleep at night, and I have vaginal dryness. Well, that's okay. We got a pill for that. We have a new name for it, and we have a new pill. Right? How's that sound? Anybody can relate to that? Have you heard of that? Yeah, people are like, of course. That was me. That's my friends. This is all people around me. But all of those problems, they're chronic illnesses, right? This is a nutrition problem. This is like not taking care of yourself problem, right? And people don't know that, right? They're just like, yeah, but my doctor said. I'm like, okay, if your doctor said you should go jump off the bridge, you gonna do it, right? I mean, you could. I'm just telling you that, right? Any doctors do what they do, and they went into health. I'd like to hope to think that they went into health, right? But oftentimes it's to like treating diseases. It's not about making a person healthy, right? Dr. Jean-Guy is into health, in case you didn't know, right? That's what I like. I like people healthy. I believe that every person here in this room should be healthy, right? That's my premise. This is what I stand on, right? Go ahead, I'll answer this last question.
Okay, so the bile, it comes from the liver and not the stomach. I thought it came from the stomach, but it comes from the liver?
Comes from the liver, yeah. Bile is produced in your liver.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
You're exactly right, too. I had the gallbladder surgery and I'm still having the same problem.
I am mostly wrong, but sometimes I'm right. You know, can you record this? I'd like to give this to my wife. I mean, one time I was right.
But the cleanse will help.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Hey, you don't laugh now, because you know my wife now. I'm gonna get in trouble. Go ahead.
If you do this cleansing, is there a good way to maintain, like, your body to keep it healthy?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Is there a way to keep it healthy? Yeah, it's to keep up on those habits that you've acquired, right? I mean, the best way for people to be healthy is for all of us here to acquire better habits and to keep as many as we can, right, over a period of time. Not to pick on you, but perfect target. I'm going to pick on you just a little bit. Okay. I'm not really picking. What is your first name? Adlov. So what I want all of you here to understand today, right? So let's say that you were onto an exercise program, you get at your best level of fitness, and you quit exercising. Guess what's going to happen to your level of fitness? Is it going to stay there?
No, it's gonna go down.
Very good. Very good. So let's say that your spine is like trash. And let's say that you start taking care of your spine. Okay, maybe some of you know nothing about chiropractic, but your spine, right? Your spine from the front should look like a cucumber. It should be straight. Yes? You might not know that, but just say yes. From the side, you should have 3 bananas. Okay, the literature, the medical literature support that. Just like your blood pressure should be somewhere around 120 over 80, right? Some people a little bit higher, some people a little bit lower. Yeah, you guys follow me? So there's an average for your spine. So let's say that you get your spine in good shape, right? And it looks almost like a cucumber, and from the side you have almost like 3 bananas. They're not perfect bananas, but let's say that they're like close enough. Yes? And then let's say that you just, you know, the past year, COVID-19 hits, and then you're sitting at home, and you're sitting, you get up in the morning, and you're in bed, and you're trying to do your work, and you're like this on your computer, right? And you sit on the couch, and you don't do anything, and you don't do your exercise for your posture, and you don't do any of that. You think your spine's going to stay in good shape. What do you think? Okay, very good. So let's say that you're 40 pounds overweight, and you go on a weight loss program, you lose 40 pounds, right? And let's pretend that you go back and eat cake, cookies, candies, ice cream, bread, rice, and pasta after you're done with your program. Guess what's going to happen to your weight loss? You think you're going to keep it down? Because what? Because you go back and eat the same crap as you did before, yes?
Right.
So as it relates to our health, everything that we do and the habits that we acquire, how long are we going to have to do that for? Very good. This lady is white. She's been around before, right? It's like, she's like, yeah, I'm married to this guy and I'm supposed to be with him forever. So there's no plan B. So forever, right? So as it relates to your health, I understand for some of you, you're like, Dr. Janki, you suck. You know, I mean, I can't believe you'd say something like that. I just lost 50 pounds. Can I go back and eat all the crap I was eating before? I mean, you could. But I just want you to know that the end result's going to be the same. You can stop working out today, but the end result's going to be the same. Right?
Yep.
So as it relates to the cleanse, you don't say, how can I keep my body? All of us here, with no exception, is to try to do the best we can to keep as many of those good habits that we have and to keep them as long as we can. That's why we need to hang out with people that wants the same thing as us. Right? People always ask me, how do I succeed into this program? You succeed by being around people that wants the same thing as you. If your sister is going to be like poor on your parade, is she's going to be raining on your parade, you just don't want to talk to your sister anymore. Thank you very much. Right? Once a year at Christmas, that's it for 5 minutes. That's all she gets. Right? You cannot be allowing people that's going to be just puking on you all the time. Does that make sense? I know some of you are like, Dr. Janki, that's pretty harsh. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't say it. Okay, any more questions before I go home? If any one of you here, if you are interested into the cleanse, right? Starting the cleanse, you're ready to go. This young man back there, his name is Dan, he's in green. He's the only one in this room who's in green. Dan is in charge. He can connect you with the person that can order the cleanse if they don't, they probably already have it, but if they need to order something special for you or whatever that might be, and then they will give you my cell phone number and you can connect with me, right? There's a person here, I think this young lady earlier, she asked me when I first started, Dr. Janki, do you do classes like this? How frequent do you do this? We do classes every month at both of our offices, right? Why do I do this? It's because I am fully committed 100% for people in this community, in this town, to be as healthy as they can be if they choose to, right? I'm not going to twist anybody's arm. I'm just telling you that I'm here for you. I'm all in, right? Any more questions before I let you go? Go ahead.
Let's say you do a 21
Yes, sir.
After that, what's the process that you keep on?
Yeah, after that is you have like many choices, right? You can, I'm just picking, well, I'm not picking on you, I'm just gonna tease you for a minute, right? Because that's a great question. A person can quit, right? They can just quit and they go back to the same habits as what they were doing before. Other people, they will continue to just have like that shake. They're gonna have one of those shakes a day and they're just gonna continue some of those habits of the stuff that they've learned. Both of our offices, we have nutritionists, right? So I'm a chiropractor, but I'm also a nutritionist. So some people, they will connect with me and they want to continue to be on a specific program specifically for them, right? So then we're going to continue working together, right? Julie started when she was 12. Now she's like, she's like 49. She's been around for a long time. But Julie has been around for a long time, right? So we've been working together for many years. And some other, people in here,
We gotta
right?
do it again.
Same thing, yeah, same thing with Bill. Bill started when he was 5, so he's still around. But so the answer to your question is a person can continue on some of the habits they've acquired, so they will continue with the shake and some of that stuff, and they can do that long term. Some people, they can, they might just get off track and they'll go back to what they were doing before. Some people, they want more, right? Because they might have other health issues or other things that they want to be addressing. Some people, they are well and they want to stay well, but they want to have somebody that's going to keep them accountable, right? So we do that too, right? So our approach nutritionally, our nutritionist, myself, and Elena, what we do is we design clinical nutrition program for people specifically for them, and then we also look at what people are putting into their body. Right, so it depends on what the person is in need of, and then we tailor a program for them based on what their needs are, right? And then we work with them. If you want drugs, you're not going to get that from us because I don't do that, right? If you want health, then that's the right place. That's a good question. Anything else? Go ahead.
Share with them how, if they've never done it before.
Come on, Julie, don't get me in trouble like this.
How you mix the shake, that it's so many scoops and it's water and.
It's right in the book. Julie wants me to tell you all about it, but I don't really want to do that. So in the book, it's going to tell you that you just take those little scooper in there, you put that in you can do it in the blender, you can do it in one of those, and you can just put it together. You can use fruits and vegetables, or you can just do it straight, right? So there's different ways of doing it. If any of you are interested, you can hook up with Julie. She's done it 27 times. She's squeaky clean. Go ahead. Angela, I'm ready.
I have a question with, the 21-day versus the 28.
Yeah.
The 21-day, does that come in just the powder, or you do the powder and
The 21-day does not come just in the powder. The 21-day is those guys right here. You get 2 buckets, right? Those 2 guys. And then you're going to do the SP cleanse the first 7 days, and then after that you do the SP green from day 8 until 21, and the gastrofibers, you're going to do that from day 1 to 21 all the way through, right? So it comes, this is like a package. You have the powder and you have those food supplements that are in capsules. And those can be opened up, they can be put into the shake if a person wants to do that, they're allowed to do that as well.
I've never done a detox, is there one versus the other for somebody that's just starting?
No, I do believe that, either one can be appropriate. If a person has never done a detox, I would probably, either one is fine, but I would probably talk to me or Elena about maybe some of the, if you have a concern about being symptomatic when you first start. I tell people usually, I'm like, if you don't care, just start right now. If you're concerned about having symptoms because you think that you have some health issues and you might have some symptoms like a headache or being more tired, if you start on Friday, usually people will feel good the first day. Usually on day 2 and 3, they might be more tired, right? So that would be the strategy. Or if your schedule is different or you work on the weekend, try to find the 2 days or the 1 day that you don't work, that you're at home. If you need extra sleep or rest or any of that, then you're close by that you can, Again, I don't want to scare you here. This is really not a big deal for the vast majority, 90% of the people. They don't experience a whole lot of that at all. But there is some people, like my wife, Dr. Denise, when she first did this, she had severe migraine headaches for 2 days. She loves coffee and she just thought she'd just quit coffee like this. And, you know, here you go. As long as you're willing to have the consequence, you know, you can have as much coffee as you want. Yes? Okay, go ahead.
From my experience, I've done both. If you're a person who likes to schedule things, I like the original method because the act of taking the supplements all day long keeps it on the front burner of your mind, and you don't wander. So I prefer that method, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
My question is basically, I'm still having like a little bit of upper and lower stomach pain. Feel weak at times, whatever. Should I, and I know it's not the gallbladder, because I have this before, the gallbladder was even taken out.
Yeah.
Should I try this? You know, I mean, I don't want to get worse is my point. There's days I can't even work. Sometimes I feel so sick. So,
How can that be worse then?
That's true. That's true.
Just do it. Just like the Nike commercial. Just do it.
Just start slow,
Yeah.
like one shake a day and then a couple days. and
Right
then-
behind Dan back there, Brandy. Brandy's been working at our office for 10 plus years. She started when she was 5'2", a long time ago, so Brandy's done the cleanse. She's a resource for you. You can ask her any questions. She probably knows more than I do. So thank you for being here tonight. If you need me, you can text me. Just remember, I only type with one finger. I'm either going to call you back if it's really important, or you know, within the same day you'll get an answer from me. Right? Any one of you here that is also interested, when a person, if you're committed to do this cleanse, there's one thing that we will do for you. Right? If you're making the commitment, number one is usually those guys, they don't come in with the cleanse, but we will give you this little shaker if you don't have one. And then we also have this thing called the body composition analysis. So if you want to, you can just let Brandy know that you want to do that. A body composition analysis before when the person starts the program. You just put your feet on this fancy scales that they do research with at Michigan State and other places that tells you every compartment of your body, between the water, the fat, the muscles, all of that. So then we can do that before and after, which is pretty cool to see your progress, what you've done, right, and how you've been, you know, from the time you started and where you're going to be after the program. And then if you decide that you want to continue this journey, we'll have like the whole journey right from the beginning, what you've done and how you progressed over time. So Brandy would be the one that you would schedule that with. It only takes a few minutes. You come to the office, we do that, and then after that you can start your program, and we would do one after the program as well. Okay, fair enough? Okay, very good. You guys are dismissed. Let's good luck on your health journey over the next 52 weeks. Let's be healthier. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.